Hi, I am Kyla Karil Mihala, currently studying at the University of Wollongong campus as a second-year nursing student. This video presentation will explore on how to properly search for the best quality of evidence using the PICO question and how to formulate a PICO framework. We will also discuss the search strategies to acquire the highest level of evidence. Then, summarize the key findings and recommendations, and have a reflection on the areas that needs to be improved when researching the best quality of evidence that we can provide to deliver and uphold evidence-based practice. What is PICO question? PICO question is an abbreviated form that stands for the key elements of a well-formulated question. P is for patient problem or population, I is for intervention, C is for comparison or control, and O is for outcome. Also, we need to have an overview of what is the highest level of evidence. Looking at this pyramid, we can determine that systematic reviews acquire the highest form of evidence, as it was a filtered information. That means that the experts and researchers combine the results from individual studies and pre-appraise this evidence to determine a summary conclusion to reduce bias of information. We can also see meta-analysis and randomized controlled trial in this one. We will investigate the PICO question and use the PICO framework. Does penalizing mobile phone use while driving prevent serious injury amongst adolescents? For our population, we have adolescents. For intervention, we have penalizing mobile phone use while driving. And for the outcome, we have prevent serious injury. Now our PICO framework will look like this. We do not have comparison in this question, so we can leave it out for now. We can include different alternative words to have a variation of our search terms. We can include truncation to identify all of the variations of the word that may be in plural form or different spelling. Next step is now how to search for our keywords using the search strategies. Now for this, I have chosen to use the CINAHL database first to compare it later with the Medline database. First thing is I am going to search for a population and its alternative keywords using truncations. I have retrieved a total of 781,465 articles, but I don't need to worry about it because I will definitely narrow it down as I go along. Second thing that I did was to search for my intervention since it can build up a concept that would help me to answer my question. Also, I've searched for the whole intervention, which is penalizing mobile phone use while driving. Now, I will use the medical subject headings or MASH to have an overview of the range of subject headings that I can refer to. I will now click the select subject headings and the Boolean phrases. Now, I will look for the relevant subject headings that I can use for the question. I will also select the major concepts so I can narrow down my search with more important and main concepts. Then, I will select my keyword and now I am ready to check and search for my first strategy. I will combine my selection using Boolean operator OR to locate other documents that may have used either of these search terms. I can limit everything later using the AND Boolean operator to narrow down my search, which will combine all of the search terms. Now I will search the database. I retrieved 5,305 articles, but of course I will not be needing this huge number of articles. But before I apply the limiters, I need to search for other part of my PICO framework that will provide another major concept, and that is our outcome. I will repeat the search strategy for my intervention and apply it into searching for my outcome. I have retrieved 43,575 articles. That may sound overwhelming, but I will still add my limiters so we don't need to worry about it much. Then, for my next step, I will go to the search history and combine all of my search history and use the Boolean operator AND to narrow down my search by combining all of the keywords that needs to appear in all of the related articles. After I have done this, the articles that I have retrieved narrowed to 11, and now I can browse efficiently to locate the best possible evidence in the CINAHL database. I will also apply my limiters such as the date of publication that are available 10 years ago up until now to check how many articles I can retrieve. However, looking at the results, I started at 2013, so we don't need to adjust this. I can try to select the highest possible evidence, which is the systematic reviews, randomized control trials, or the meta-analysis as my limiters. However, I did not yield any relevant articles from these highest possible forms of evidence. Now, I will repeat this search strategy to Medline. These are the key findings from Medline. Comparing to CINAHL, I have more relevant subject headings that I can connect to my question in Medline, and it actually covers a wide variety of issues in our society compared to CINAHL, which is more limited in clinical field. Lastly, I will use this final search strategy and figure out if I can locate the best possible evidence that will provide a clear answer to my question. First is that I selected both of the databases in one go so that I can quickly narrow my search. Then, I entered the keywords and alternative keywords from my clinical question. I have used truncations and Boolean operators when phrase searching. I have retrieved 438 articles, but I still need to narrow it down and look for the best possible evidence from my limiters. I have adjusted the date from 2012 to 2022, and I retrieved 311 articles. Then I changed the publication type to systematic reviews for both CINAHL and Medline, as it is the highest level of evidence. Then I found 5 systematic review articles that closely relate to my question and has a possible potential of being the best available evidence that I can provide. Looking at all of the 5 articles, I found one that highly answers my question, and that is the first article that I retrieved. As the heading goes, evaluating the impact of penalizing the use of mobile phone use while driving on road traffic fatalities, serious injuries, and mobile phone use, a systematic review. After finding the best possible evidence, I will now provide a summarized findings and recommendations from this evidence. This study represents the first systematic review to assess the correlation between the implementation of penalizing mobile phone use while driving and the severity of injuries and traffic fatalities. The study partly covered the effects of ban implementation for mobile phone use and the severity of road fatalities for young drivers, but it focuses more on the general population. Given the data and findings, penalizing mobile phone use while driving to prevent road traffic fatalities in young drivers is inadequate and inconsistent, thus needs more high quality of research. There are several reasons why penalizing mobile phone use does not necessarily result to the reduction of prevalence of road traffic fatalities and injuries, as several bans may be ineffective, such as the handheld ban for phone use, as people can find ways to substitute these risky behaviors, such as increased hands-free mobile phone use and concealed mobile phone use, which are just as a distraction to result to road traffic accidents. Also, the paper suggests that the future research based on this hypothesis should include a wider range of geographical data outside North America, as the research paper only focused on this location. Moreover, there are a range of studies that discuss the consequences of penalizing mobile phone use while driving, but there is no other systematic review that can validate this study. I will use the Gibbs 1998 model flowchart to reflect on this experience and provide ways on how I can improve my search. I conducted a research strategy using the PICO framework and applied it to the databases of Medline and CINAHL. Then, I looked for the PICO keywords and phrases in both of the databases using mesh and Boolean operators. I have used several search strategies, such as separately searching for the CINAHL and Medline by using the medical subject heading search and searching for both of them at the same time to compare which strategy is better. My strategy to search for both databases separately using the mesh results to a wider variety of information and high possibility of paper blowout, instead of narrowing it down to a more specific answer to acquire the best possible evidence. The reason for this is because I cannot use the mesh strategy in doing both databases at the same time. I felt challenged since I have experienced several paper blowout, but I've used this challenging experience as a motivation for me to find the best possible evidence, so I used the Boolean operators and limiters to narrow down my research. I have encountered some difficulties, such as looking for the highest level of evidence with my first search strategy, by separately searching for my PICO framework using the 2 databases. There are several good and bad experiences when I have done this assessment. The good ones are that I felt the motivation to strive for more information on how I could retrieve the best evidence. Maybe the bad experience of it was it can be time consuming, since you really need to evaluate the search strategies that you perform and find ways how to make it more efficient. I may have found the best possible evidence to my question. However, this does not only focus on my specific demographic, which are the adolescents, as it focuses more on the general population. I may need to conduct more research to support my answer in the future. I have noticed that CINAHL mostly covers more on medical studies and healthcare programs that focuses on qualitative studies instead of quantitative studies that will most likely connect to my PICO question. However, Medline has a wider range of societal issues and articles that does not only focuses on clinical studies but the general issues as well, such as road traffic accidents that potentially resulted from mobile phone use while driving. I had the paper blow out when dealing with mesh in both of the databases. Thus, it is more time efficient to search for both of the databases at the same time. I will use this learning for my future reference. For me, developing the skills of searching for the best possible evidence for the people that we care for are pivotal to provide best quality of care and an informed practice. Also, this gives health practitioners more confidence in providing the evidence. This also reduces clinical errors and myths, since they are based on filtered and pre-appraised information and facts.